Good morning, boys and girls. So this is part 3 of my DBI experience episodes. I'm on vacation. I'm in Cozumel, Mexico, and you can see behind me the Gulf of America, right, right at the Mexican uh, border. Beautiful place, by the way. I'm a lifelong scuba diver, instructor, and I've always enjoyed Cozumel. It's close to the United States. It's relatively inexpensive, and it is a beautiful part of the reef. So if you get a chance, come here and enjoy it. It's a great place to learn to dive, also. So check it out. So my name's Mike, and this is my Everyman channel. And Mrs. Everyman wanted me to say at this point, especially up front, that I've mentioned how the TBI, how the traumatic brain injury affected my speech, and for the most part I've recovered. But those of you who have known me for a long time know that I used to do a lot of theater work and a lot of vocal work, and it's not the same now. I still get hung up, and at times my speaking sounds as if I'm inebriated. And I've been accused of that, but right now I'm certainly not. We talked last time about how alcohol can help out in some of the tremor situations, but it has its deleterious side effects, so be careful. But today I wanted to briefly talk about the surgery itself. So I went through all this vetting procedure, which for me took more than a year. And I did all the psychological tests and all the physical tests and such and so. But finally it was the day of the surgery. And there was two fifth-year residents who came in and applied the helmet, is what I'll call it. It's a carbon fiber frame that fits like a helmet over your head. It's screwed into your skull. You can probably see the scars right here and here, several places, with a pointed Allen screw. It screws in. They deaden, to a certain extent, they deaden the skin where the pointed screw is going to fit nicely against your skull. That's actually the only real issue I had during the surgery was these guys. I used to do a lot of halo helmets for broken necks and stuff, so I'm very familiar with it. And we always used a torque meter to adjust the torque setting on these screws so we didn't go through the skull or crack the skull. And with this, I asked them where their torque meter was, and they kind of laughed. So I laughed along with them. But one of the screws actually penetrated my skull right here and cracked it. It's no big deal because it doesn't go into your brain. It's just a bone thing. But we successfully got the helmet mounted. And then it was a long wait as the team, our surgeon and the team from Boston Scientific, which is the technology firm that I chose to make the hardware and software that's installed in my body. So the first thing is, of course, doing the brain implant, which are electrical probes. They're rather long because they go from the top of your head all the way deep into your brain. So they're penetrating down. First thing the surgeon does is numb your scalp, and then they make as small incisions as possible. And my surgeon didn't have me shave my head. Now, a lot of surgeons prefer you have a clean shaven head before you do this. And actually, I think personally I would have rather shaved my head. But anyhow, my surgeon said, no, leave it alone, and they'll work around it. So they make the incisions, and once the flap is peeled back, then they use a boring drill that's about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, and they drill down through your skull. The idea is to stop before you penetrate too deeply into the brain, and they're just going through the skull. There is no pain. I'll say it again. There is no pain. Uh, I've always known that, but I still expected once they removed the osteo part, the bone part of my skull, as they started the probe down into the brain, I really expected there to be some kind of sensation, something creepy. There was nothing. I could not tell they were touching my brain. They weren't just touching it, they were going down through it. Really interesting how God made us. Intriguing. The one part of your body that perceives everything else in your body, from your little toe to your little finger to the tip of your ear, is perceived through our brain, but the brain itself has no sensory nerves in it. So, really incredible. One of the wonders of God. But this surgery is a wonder of medicine. It didn't take long for them to get it down in place. They use a directed, graduated CAT scan to know where they're going. They get there relatively quickly. And once in place, of course, you're awake for all this, and you're looking at a mirror that's looking back at the surgeon, who's, of course, above and behind you. And so you're communicating, you're talking. I was telling jokes. She did not laugh at very many of them, but it's okay. She was doing her job. So the procedure goes kind of quickly when you're at that stage, and then she asked me to do certain movements and answer certain questions, which I did. She would have me hold my hands up, and of course, at that time, the tremor was still active, so I was like this. And the moment she hit the right spot and applied a little energy to the electrode, it leveled out perfectly. And I don't mind telling you, I cried a little bit. It's pretty, it's just damn impressive what happens. Answered prayer. And I have to tell you, the surgeon was so empathetic. This is probably her 300th procedure. She cried a little bit with me. I think that probably happens on every case. That's the kind of doctor you want. Yes. But the procedure went along smoothly. Now understand that this procedure is simply to get the electrodes in place. So once she sinks the electrodes in, there's a plastic cap that covers the hole. When you guys run into me, I'll let you feel my head. My two spots are right here and here. You can possibly see them. Yeah, you can see them a little bit. Oh, nice hairdo. Once they test it in the surgery, then the rest of the procedure is hiding the wires, putting the wires in under your scalp. She brought them over to this side right here, so I have another lump right there, and tied them off, both of the wires. I have bilateral electrodes, so she tied them off and then finished up the procedure, closed the wounds, made sure I was okay. I went into recovery. No problems. No problems. It's scary, and I would tell you not to be afraid, but it's normal to be a little afraid. But it's just one of those things, you make your choices and you take your chances, as the old cowboys used to say. Mine turned out great. You probably notice as I bring my hands up and demonstrate different things, I still have a tiny tremor. I can take that tremor away with the little device they give you, which I can carry in my pocket, and I can range the intensity of the electrode, the stimulation is what they call it. I can range that within a certain perimeter. So on days like today, when I'm on vacation and I don't really care too much, I'm going to have it at a low setting. That's better for your brain. It decreases the chance of temporary burnout, so it's a good thing. But when I go to dinner, for instance, or if I'm target shooting, which is one of my favorite pastimes, or I'm doing other things where I need really close control of the trimmer, I can crank it up. One of the doctors, when I was asking about the surgery originally, he said, "What are some of the things you love to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm, pretty good target shooter, and I enjoy that. I'd like to get back to it." And he said, "We can do that." He said, "I can make you more steady than you ever were before." And I was like, "Great." He said, "But you won't be able to talk." I was like, "I don't care. When I'm target shooting, I don't need to talk." Perfect. He said, "There you go. I'll give you a setting for that." And it works. And he was right. I can't speak very well when it's at that setting. So depending on the zone and the stimulation level and the level of depth that they go near this part of the brain, can affect your speech more or less. And they can switch it around. These things have a zonal control in them now, so they're much better than the ones from 25 years ago. So that's kind of my experience with it. But then several weeks later, after all this healed, I went back in to be rechecked, and that's when they put the chest component, what I call the computer, and this is the computer, and it's kind of like a pacemaker. It's lodged right under your clavicle there. You see that. You can see the wire coming from this collection of wires. Runs up over the clavicle, runs up into my neck, behind my ear, and travels right under my scalp up to where that collection of wires was that she buried a few weeks prior during the first surgery. And all this goes quickly. It takes about an hour for them to do it, and it's really inconsequential. A little bit of pain, discomfort in the chest, a little bit of pain, discomfort in the scalp, but that goes away pretty quickly. So that in itself is the procedure for having the surgery for me, and there are variations of all this. A lot of doctors put you to sleep for it. I kind of liked being awake. It gave me a feeling that I had a little bit of control over what was happening, whether I did or not. But next time we'll visit, and I'll talk about the follow-up and when they finally turn it on. It's several weeks, even months later, that they activate everything, make both of these components talk to each other, and it's amazing. So we'll talk about that then. In the meantime, I hope you get a little vacation every now and then. Mine is beautiful, wonderful. I can't recommend it highly enough. And if you need an old dive instructor to go with you who's got plates in his head, give me a call, drop me a line. Please subscribe and like these videos if you enjoy seeing them. And remember, if you have someone in your family who might need to see this, please show it to them. I'll try to behave myself. Bye. See you later. Love you guys.